GPT-5 is finally here. The live stream has just ended, and if you're anything like me, you've been so excited about this, waiting for it to come in. It really reminds me so much. I can remember waiting in line for the iPhone 3GS. That was the first one that my parents allowed me to get, and it was so exciting. Well, nowadays, instead of waiting in line for iPhones, we wait for new GPT models. And so in this video, I want to break down the top features that GPT-5 has, compare it to older models, and understand, is this a paradigm shift like we had when we went from 3 to 4? We're going to break these features down in order from least important to most important. And so with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Feature number 1 is going to be personalization. And this is a really cool feature if you ask me, because you're going to actually be able to customize the colors of your chats on ChatGPT. You will be able to customize what type of response you want from ChatGPT. Do you want it to be witty and funny? Do you want it to be more professional and concise? Do you want it to be more mathematic and scientific? You can actually choose the level of personalization that you want within your GPT. And so for the first time ever, not everyone's going to get the same responses, which is just so necessary because we all know how GPT can talk in a similar format, and you can immediately tell if someone is copying and pasting ChatGPT into their browser. Feature number 2 is going to be memory and Gmail calendar integration. So memory came out about a year ago, and it's one of the best features that has ever been released with AI. It has improved my ChatGPT experience tremendously. The memory is about to get a lot better, but it's also going to become much more of a personal assistant. So, ChatGPT has been playing around with these connectors where you can connect to Google Drive, you can connect to Gmail, but now it's going to be fully integrated. And so I can go to ChatGPT and I say, based on my schedule tomorrow, give me my to-do list, number 1 to 5 of least or most to least important, and also include at what times I need to do what. And it'll do that. And it'll go into your emails and it'll say, hey, Sam, by the way, 2 days ago, you forgot to respond to an important email from a potential customer of yours. And, these are just some random arbitrary examples, but this is really setting the stage for these agentic assistants. And, unfortunately, I let my virtual assistant off about 6 months ago because AI was stepping in so much, and now it's just going to ramp up to an entirely another level. So these features are going to significantly improve personal productivity, and I'm really excited to test them out. I mean, I already record every call I have inside of ChatGPT, but now to have access to my emails, to my calendar, it's truly going to become just another step of more integrated into my life. And I'd like to add that I think within the next 12 to 24 months, ChatGPT will be even more integrated in the sense of, I predict they're going to release a physical product. I don't want to stray away from the core point of this video too far, but that's a strong belief that I have. Now, number 3, we have safety complications. So in the past, safety and guardrails was a big issue with ChatGPT. It'd be very frustrating, right? You would ask it for something and it would say, oh, sorry, but my guardrails don't allow for this, or I'm not allowed to talk about that. And it just wouldn't even engage with you. Well, now things have changed a little bit. You can now chat with ChatGPT about more diverse, risque topics, and it will actually engage with you and answer with you. It will try to understand the intent of your question. So, for example, if you're asking about how to the components to a bomb, but it knows that you are a nuclear physicist working on a project, it will actually engage with you and answer those questions. If it notices some strange behavior and you do nothing in regards to that field and you start asking these questions, it might not engage as much, or it will answer to a certain extent to where it doesn't give you the full answer. Now, this is tricky. This is probably one of the most challenging things that an AI company has to navigate is, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line between letting someone ask anything and then actually putting other people's lives in danger? And so I think this is a pretty good happy medium. With that said, this type of feature is always going to have people that are not happy with it because they want more. And I understand that, I really do. But from OpenAI's perspective, a legal liability perspective, it's a no-brainer. You have to have safety guardrails, especially when you're talking about infinite knowledge to quite literally anything in the entire universe. Next up, we have data model training. So in the past, data was trained on things like the internet or books or news articles, etc. Well, OpenAI introduced a new type of synthetic data training to scale this model up. And if it proves to be effective, which is looking like it is, it will completely change the way that we think about AI scalability. The models no longer have to rely on scraped or licensed human data. Now they can create synthetic data that can train itself. And if you think about it, There is only a finite amount of human data in the world. But synthetic data, theoretically, could be exponential. You can never run out of synthetic data if you can figure out how to train the models on it. So this opens up an entirely new growth potential for these AI models. And so this raises exponentially the potential growth of AI in the future. Next up, we have GPT-5 Pro, we have Mini, and we have Nano. And Mini and Nano are really, really interesting. Essentially, what this is going to do is power a new wave of next-gen AI solutions across many different industries because of tools like Nano that are so powerful and so small and so cheap to actually use that it unlocks an unbelievable world of potential for anyone using them. I also happen to like this naming convention a lot more. Let's think about the previous naming conventions. We had 4.0, 03, 03 Pro, 04 Mini, 04 Mini High, so on and so forth. But now we have GPT-5, we have 5 Mini, and we have 5 Nano. This is sounding a lot more Apple-esque, if you will, and I think it flows a lot better and is a lot less confusing. Now we're getting to the good stuff. OpenAI announced today agentic reasoning and task automation. I predicted that GPT-5 would be a big step towards agents, and that is exactly what is happening. ChatGPT now has the ability to perform multi-step, goal-driven tasks, and we got a little preview of this with Agent, but this is going to be on an entirely another level. This will change the way businesses operate, the way humans delegate work, and ultimately how software is built. So ultimately, we're transforming productivity and how humans interact with software, and the potential growth because of this is going to be exponential. This is something that we all figured was coming with AI. We just didn't know if it was happening in 2025 or 2030 or when it was going to be. But it turns out, if the rumors are true, if the announcement is true and it lives up to the hype, GPT-5 is going to be the first agentic reasoning and task automation model that can actually go to the next level. And I just have to throw a little side note in here. I just saw a tweet from Elon pop up and he said, actually Grok 4 is already better than GPT-5 and it came out 2 weeks ago, blah, blah, blah. He's referring to benchmarks. Well, I've used the heck out of Grok 4. It is not even close to as good as 03 Pro. So I promise you it's not going to be as good as GPT-5. That's what we call huffing copium. Okay, now I want to talk about my absolute favorite announcement and feature from GPT-5. They have massively improved chat's knowledge to access healthcare knowledge and self-diagnosis support. So a tool that was already fundamentally changing the medical industry is now coming in and is going to revolutionize it like never before. We might not even have doctors in 20 years. A model that can reliably answer questions without hallucinations could reduce significant burdens on our health system. It could provide early preventive measures if you're getting sick or developing some disease or cancer. And ultimately, it can scale health literacy globally. If you think about social media, one good thing that did come from social media is it spread health awareness all across the world. Well, imagine that times about 1 million, and that's what GPT-5 is going to do for us. I was literally out the door on the way to the gym, and I remembered that I didn't include coding in this video, which is probably the most important update from GPT-5. I'm not gonna make a long spiel about it, but essentially, this is the best model by a long shot on planet Earth for coding. They gave some demos showing how much it's gonna change front-end and back-end development. So actually, if you're a designer, this is pretty disruptive and pretty shocking. On the back end, for real hard coding and development, I mean, the agentic features are quite literally crazy, so much so that they're giving a lot of GPT-5 access for free for a couple days inside of Cursor just so people can try it. So ladies and gentlemen, probably mainly gentlemen, however, if you are a lady that's watching this channel, I would appreciate it if you leave a comment because that would be nice to know. But with that said, this is GPT-5 in a nutshell. I'm about to dive in. I just got access right now. I cannot wait to check it out. I'm interested to know your feedback. Please leave a comment and let me know, are there any features missing that you were expecting? Is it a disappointment? Is it beyond your expectations? How are you going to use GPT-5 first? Always subscribe. I try to put out a video every day about AI, about how we can use it better and integrate it into our lives and our businesses. And as always, I appreciate your time. Let's go play with GPT. And as always, I appreciate your time. Let's go play with GPT-5.